Hello, everybody. I'm going to introduce you. I'm Kike Sarasola, president and founder of Roommate Hotels, and I'm going to show you a little bit of my new startup venture that I started the month of July. BMate. BMate is the new way of traveling. I like to say that when I am in my hotels, I listen to my clients when they come and tell me, Kike, we want free Wi-Fi. We need Wi-Fi in all the city. What do? We make a router that lets our client, go through the city with 6 phones with free Wi-Fi. And right now, I am hearing my clients that are telling me, Kike, we need bigger rooms. We need family rooms. We want to travel with dogs. We want to travel with older people. We need special needs. And that's why I started thinking, instead of being from a friend's house, which is my hotels, now you go to another city and you stay in everybody's house, friends, you stay in your house in every city. It's a new type of traveler. It's a traveler who has special needs. It's somebody who has children. They are gluten-free. They cannot go down to the breakfast room. It's a new type of traveling and a traveler that is demanding this new. How did I find it? When we were in Roommate Hotels, we saw that in the first stage there was 5-star hotels, and in the bottom there was hostales or pensions or hotels that were not fun. That's where I saw a niche that I put Roommate Hotels. 3-4-star hotels, fun, attractive, sexy. When I started looking at the rental market, I saw that it was the same thing happening right now. You have the top of the scale, 5-star apartments serviced, everything included. And downstairs you have the other platforms, Airbnb, HomeAway, which are fantastic, but they give you no service. For example, I don't use these platforms because I have a baby child, and maybe when I go to travel, I need to have a babysitter, or I want them to pick me up at the airport. So what did we do? We developed and we looked at the problems of the market. The market has one problem, which is people over 35 do not find the confidence to go to these platforms because many times they don't know what they're going to find, if the photos are real, if they're not real, if it's a bad apartment even though it has a lot of stars. So what do? We took one of my hotels in every city, the center of the city, and we took 300 apartments around the hotel. We looked at all the apartments, and that way I give you a guarantee that the apartments that you see in the picture is an apartment you're going to find. So I give you the security that the apartments are real and you have them there. Second of all, there's always a very big problem. What do you do with the keys? Where do you pick them up? Where do you drop them? What happens when you have suitcases and you leave the apartment at 12 o'clock? What do you do at that stage? Well, all of that you can do in my lobby of the hotel because you're 15 minutes away. You can also have, very important when you travel, security. So you have a concierge service 24 hours a day. You need a doctor, or you want a reservation in a restaurant. So at the end of the day, what am I doing? I am giving you security, giving you all the extra services that you might need at that point when you go to a city that you don't know. But apart from that, I'm giving you something else. You can choose a la carte, you pay for them because the other ones are free. You pay what you really need. So for example, if you come to Paris, you stay with us, you can pick up the key in my hotel, you can leave the suitcases in the hotel as well, you can have the concierge service. But let's say you need a nanny. You call me, we get it for you. You need a cook because you want somebody to cook for you. You need somebody to clean the apartment. So we give you all these extra services, and what does that mean? At the end, you are making your trip a la carte. You're doing your menu. You're doing exactly what you're paying for is what you are getting, which is what I believe is the future of traveling. We all have traveled many times to many places, and we have spent fortunes, and we haven't used any of the facilities. So right now, with my new concept, you are paying for what you really want and what you really need. We have been 2 weeks in the air. We had 750,000 visits, and 3,000 people have been registered. And now I'm going to show you a small video of my new endeavor.
Everyone loves to travel, but our way of doing it has changed. Now we want to feel at home anywhere. We travel differently. By rocket, by hair, riding backwards on a hare. No, this hasn't changed, but the housing has. Now we sleep in rental apartments. We want to be as local as the locals, here or there. The bad part? As travelers, we don't want to give up the services of a hotel. We want it all. Well, take a seat and a deep breath and listen. BMate is born. Wait, the birth metaphor's a bit obvious, isn't it? Let's try with an image of the creation. Oh no, the Big Bang. Well, let's move directly onto the logo. Perfect. BMate connects special travelers who seek the independence and warmth of a rental apartment with a range of complimentary services that make their stay unforgettable. We connect travelers, hosts and hotels in a collaborative community where they can relate. This one. Imagine the privacy of a downtown design apartment with all the free services you need, plus a series of optional services. It's great, isn't it? They celebrate it, but they didn't invent it. Such an idea could only be a creation of Kike Sarasola. Discover a collaborative community where unique accommodations and exclusive services are at the service of travelers. Discover a new way of traveling. Let's see an explorer surprised by something amazing. Perfect. Discover BMate.
5 minutes.
Very good. Perfect timing. So, first question, did you do this because you saw an opportunity or because you were afraid of Airbnb taking your business?
No, we did first of all, I love Airbnb. I think it's a fantastic company. I have nothing against it. I don't use it because I need more security. I need to know where I want to go. And what we did find is that I was hearing my customers and my clients in my hotels demanding this special new thing. Why don't you have bigger rooms, bigger apartments? So we did look at the market, and we saw that there was a niche, of course.
Mm-hmm. And how popular are you now within the hotel industry?
Well, I think half of them hate me and half of them love me, but it's always happened this way, no? I mean, the hoteliers always...
Not new.
It's not new, no. At the beginning, they were always like saying, oh my God, what does this one know of hotels? I mean, he's only does hotels for gays. And I'm like, no, I'm the gay one, not my hotels. And so it's like, no, I don't care. I like to go against the current.
Okay. I find it very interesting for a traditional company, traditional in terms of offline company, hotel company, to go online and to go. You've always been online since your business model is very much focused on the online. But how do you think you can actually get it to the next level and combine both online and offline?
I think it's the future. I think you have to. I think everybody sees that the future is there. Everybody needs to be online much more. And I think what is good about BMate is that we have been able to put two worlds together, the hotel world and the rental world. No? So at the end of the day, I have opened my platform to all the hoteliers in the world because I saw that my concept was very good and I wanted to grow quicker. So what I have done is I have opened the concept, my platform, technological, to any hotelier in the world where don't have hotels so that they can join me. No, I think it's a way of sharing. We're in a sharing economy. We believe in the sharing economy. So that's what I did. Let's share it. Let's all make the hotelier platform of the world. That's what my aim is.
And talking about sharing, it looks like we're sharing our room, our house, we're sharing our car. What next are we going to be sharing?
Well, actually, I think that in terms of sharing, we still need to improve a lot in sharing houses and cars. There's a lot to do still, but I'm really glad to see that in all the people I meet and all the kind of startups, I can see that around there's so much creativity in Spain, in other countries as well, but Spain is really good and dynamic in that sense that there is a lot of new projects going around sharing meals, sharing holidays together. There are many initiatives that are actually blooming around.
And what do you guys think? Are we crossing like the personal boundaries? And because I'm going to your house and I'm sitting in your coach.
But I don't leave my underwear around, I promise.
Well, maybe it fits me, but we never know. But this is definitely a game changer, isn't it? So how do you think this is affecting the personal relations? And we're definitely crossing this barrier.
Well, I think that we're just putting a new word on something that we have been doing forever. Sharing is probably one of the things that the age of humanity is something we learned really quick because that was really vital to survive in a really difficult world. Today, sharing, and probably in the past as well, we had we knew people, we knew our neighbors, and we knew their resources. So that was easy. But in the big cities like today, well, we don't know our neighbors, and we don't know the resources and the availability of the resources. So I think that thanks to technology and thanks to that sharing economy movement, we're getting to a point where we have an excuse to connect. We have an excuse to connect from online to offline, to meet again people and to have something really different, which is having an experience, a user experience behind the digital world, but thanks to the digital world.
And tell us a little bit more about your story, the story of the company. Which country is working better? Because To me, in Spain at least, if you don't own a house, you're like no one. No, you can't. If you have a brand new car, you want to show it off. But here it's about something completely different. No? It's about experiencing, not about owning. So how does that work in Spain versus other countries? And is it different or is it the same?
Well, since we created a company like 8 years ago, we have been expanding across Europe in our model in like 10 countries in Europe, plus Russia recently, and Turkey like 3 weeks ago. So what we see, really, it's funny, that there are people, and there are roads, and there are cars, there are a willingness to optimize, and get in touch with people to offset cost, basically to move around, meeting people and at a lower price. This is a common basic one. And I would say that Spain, in particular, across all the countries we are in, is really active, is really dynamic. It could be like probably one of the most dynamic community we are having across Europe, even if the need and the behavior is quite similar everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you? Tell us about your company.
Because I'm the one who asked the questions.
No. Tell us about you, for example. You guys are expanding as well a lot,
yeah,
no?
We are.
You're going to, did you start in Europe or did you go to...
We started in Spain and now we're moving to, we checked a little bit of Europe. It was way too mature, so we decided to go to Latin America.
Latin America?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Are you guys in Latin America as well?
No, not yet.
Not yet. You're planning to?
Well, probably yes.
Because we're planning to expand in South America and Latin America.
Where about? You're in Mexico already?
We're in Mexico and New York and Miami, but we do want to go to South America for sure.
And what are the drivers for the decision? To decide to open a specific city based on what?
Basically that it has a leisure, pleasure, and work and pleasure, ocio, negocio, both things, and basically it's terrible to say it, but a city that I like, because I have to go once a month to my hotel, so I would like cities that I like.
Yeah, so he's the boss always makes the decisions. Let's talk a little bit about a topic that you guys will love, of course, which is regulation. So there's a lot of noise about what's going on in the sharing economy. Is it fair? Is it not fair? Uber, Airbnb. So what's your opinion on that?
Well, I think that when you have something new, which is innovation, it's normal that you have some controversy. It's normal you're creating fame around that as well. However, it looks like not everybody actually having the same kind of issues and the same kind of situation. And it is important, and I just came from Brussels, like last week I was at DG Connect in Brussels talking about the possibility of the Internet of Things, which is like the potential we have trying to digitalize more our economies. And it is important to see that basically we are moving on an evolution, evolving to something more future and consolidated. And it's normal as well that startups are moving faster than probably economics, politics, but the scale and the speed is really high right now. So if you look at WhatsApp, for instance, that goes from 0 to 500 million people in really short time. So you can imagine that services can scale, be global really quick. So that's why regulation need to really adapt and evolve really quick as well.
But what do you mean exactly by adapt? Is it that traditional industries should stay as they are and current industries should be, the new industries should have the regulation that they have, or what should happen exactly?
Well, today, like BlaBlaCar is operating in Europe in 13 countries. We are 10 million member community, and we just recently crossed a record mark with the 2 million users using BlaBlaCar every month across Europe. Basically, this is and we are operating into we are kind of lucky operating into a clean legal environment where our model is only sharing cost, which is really different from other apps or platforms initiative where people are actually getting money out of it. So, but in a certain extent, I believe that at the beginning of something, you need to explore, you need to understand, you need to study, and probably in the future regulate it if it's, of course, a market or regulation, always if you protect the customers.
For example, I really think that the market should be regulated. I think because it's not fair. I, for example, as a hotelier, I have to pay my taxes, and I have like 400 regulations I have to comply to open a hotel. So it's not fair that the rental apartments have no regulations and they don't pay any taxes. So for example, in my company, I am only going to take apartments that are legal and that are regulated where it's regulated. No? I am pro-regulation. I am pro that it should be, the hoteliers should be less regulated and the apartments should be more regulated.
Okay. And this morning there was Nelly Cruz here and Minister Soria. What would you tell them?
What would you tell them? That for him to believe he's a Minister of Tourism. And no, I have to say they are doing a nice job. I have to say it's now with this thing of, for example, the Ebola today, they have to really do something because our reputation is really on the line, and that can affect all of us a lot because tourism is the first industry of our country. And what I would basically say is what I always say. I mean, try to be united. I mean, if we are one country, it's like in Madrid. We cannot have comunidad and ayuntamiento. We should all be united going on one side. We defend one country. We defend one city. We should be united. No, now tourism should be very much more united, and I think that's what I would tell him.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there's other players that will follow you? Traditional, I mean, you're not traditional players, but hotels that will open up and go into other business models? I'm
sure we have to adapt. If you look back 4 or 5 years ago, if you remember, they would tell us, don't download the music or don't download the video, you're going to go to jail, you're going to get fined. What happened? Nothing. Spotify came up or iTunes came up. I think we are in a moment where we're changing. Everything is readapting. I think the new sharing economy is here, and it's here to stay, no matter what they say. It's when we did I studied around one of my hotels, and there was 380 apartments that were being rented out around a 500 radius from my hotel. So I said, it's here to stay. Either I join them and I do something better, or you're off the market. So I mean, I think we should all evolve, and I'm sure that everybody, blah, 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 is an evolution. BMate is an evolution. I think we should all be ready for changes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You want to add anything on top of that?
Well, I do believe that, I mean, regulation to a certain extent is here to protect the consumers, as I said, but it has to be as well the catalyzer for innovation and to keep up with, you know, that world we want to create for tomorrow. So I think it's really important we have like 2 phases in terms of regulation: listening, letting, operating, and then after probably regulating once the things getting more structured.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If you could, would you guys have started the company outside of Europe?
Yeah, I mean, that was a great adventure to start here in Spain, and of course, I think that adventure can be started everywhere, and it's just a question of personal decision where you want to start it and then how, but basically. Yeah.
In my case, the idea was Spanish, and I did it in 2 months, so I didn't have really time to go out anywhere else. But I mean, let's see. I'll answer to you in a month, because I started my company, we did it with our own money, and right now we are funded, and now we're going to go and ask for a credit to the bank. Mm-hmm. So let's see if that really works, or I should have gone to another country.
Right.
Well, what about you?
So talking about money, you raised $100 million.
Oh, well, that was not me.
Well, yeah, of course not yourself, but what do you do with $100 million?
Well, that fundraising was actually a big milestone for us, as we had to, we demonstrated, we had a model that was actually scaling across Europe in the 10 countries inside the Union. Then we just realized that opening up Russia, which was an emergent market, brand new with full of possibilities, it was getting really well. So thanks to the investors that just joined our board lately with Index Venture with $100 million, that money is going to be used for replicating the model we have been making in Europe, trying to expand to new market, emerging market. This is what we actually did in Turkey. And we're planning to do that as well in other markets, just like India or whatever, Brazil, or see just around if we can actually be global as a company.
What's the next step? Is it an IPO or
the next step is to keep on growing. It's really important. We still have a lot to do. And basically, if you take a picture today of how many available seats in car are moved around in Spain, we might be around 80 million seats available in Spain that are actually empty, that are not used by other people. So if you look about the potential we have of optimization, the resources that are actually today wasted, well, I think that there's still a lot to do and to operate and develop our model in Spain, in all the countries we are, and of course opening new countries too.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Kike? Would you ever take VC money?
Well, it depends. Anybody who comes to my company, the first thing I ask them is, are you going to let me work or are you going to touch my balls? So because I mean, I'm here to work. I love to work and I don't like somebody to change my company. If they want to change my company, which is what many times happens because I have many friends who've let VC comes in, what they do is they want to change the company. So I say, if you want to change my company, why don't you do yours? Don't go into mine. So I think it's very important when you make a match with somebody or when you let somebody into your company that it's obvious where you want to go. So I would let anybody come in that has the same ideas and and lets me work.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And I think there's one very interesting thing about BlaBlaCar. It is a European company that has been able to scale up and become a large player, a worldwide player. What do you think are the keys to do that? Because our problem as European companies that we lack of that scale-up thing. No? So what do you think we should do, or what did you do that worked?
Well, it's not easy, but I was also before that to be in 10 countries in Europe, now 13 with Turkey and Russia. We just had a vision that we had to go fast. Why? Because we were in kind of neat situation because there were no American company doing the same thing in the US at this time. The model was working, so even at the beginning when we even didn't have a business model, we didn't have that many cash in the bank to actually grow up, we decided to open up Spain, and then the year after, UK and Italy, and then we went through acquisition across the time to go faster, and that's really important to scale up, not only as a market, but also as a team. And today, it might be a lot easier to contract somebody who's German and lives in Italy and wants to open up Austria, though the European market is really keen to do that more than 10, 15 years ago. So that's the kind of things that in Europe it looks like we're making good progress step by step, slow by slow, but we're making good progress in that sense. In emerging market outside of Europe, it's going to be a different challenge probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what's your model for the future? Is it
My model for the future in the hotels is to keep on growing. For example, I have to say that for example, they didn't consider us a role player in my hotels until we opened the hotel in New York and Miami. Suddenly they did consider us that we were a world player. What I really think is that right now we shouldn't think about, we have to try, I know it's difficult, but we have to try and really think as global. No, I've started my company, and since the beginning, we started in 10 cities with BMade, and we are just trying to expand. By the end of 2015, we want to try and have 150 cities worldwide, and I think global since the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So let's open the discussion. Does anyone have any questions? Want to add anything to the conversation? There's one question over there. Please say who you are.
Hi, my name is Antoine. I'm also French. I have a question for the founder of BlaBlaCar. I was wondering, just for fun, any interesting patterns emerge in the way people travel in different countries where you opened? And the second question is a bit unrelated. You're from a French-speaking country. We don't have Latin America, but isn't there anything, or maybe it's not mature enough, but maybe there's something interesting that could emerge from French-speaking countries in Africa? Maybe it's not the right moment, but I'm sure this is something you may have considered or thought about at some point.
I'm not sure I got the question, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is, any patterns in the different countries where you've spread? Like, what interesting and fun facts about the way Spanish people travel when they use your service? What's a bit, I don't know, about Russian consumers and Italian consumers? And the second one is about, is there anything interesting to be exploited in French-speaking countries in Africa?
Okay, about About the users and the people actually getting to BlaBlaCar, I will have to say that we started, when we started, we really didn't know how you're going to work. And basically, it started with like a kind of young kind of users, really keen to technology and trying to actually get in touch with other people to offset the cost of transportation in that case, and we could see that along the time they were actually, if the son were actually using BlaBlaCar, like probably like a year or 2 years after, the daddy is going to use BlaBlaCar as well, because he's going to have a more social life around that. And we're starting to see in France, for instance, which is a much more mature market, that even the grandparents are using now BlaBlaCar as a cool thing to move around because, well, I don't have a car anymore, I can't drive anymore, and it's a social way to reconnect with somebody. I mean, that's something really positive and really strong for us. And in terms of expansion, we, as I said before, we like countries where there are people, road, and cars. So, because there is a lot of optimization to do there, and this is why the model of BlaBlaCar could be really adapted everywhere that 3 parameters actually meet.
Any other questions? There's another one there.
Hello, this is Jorge González Iglesias from Blue Move Car Sharing. I wanted to ask Vincent Rosso, how do you see the Spanish mindset towards collaborative consumption versus other countries?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear well. With the microphone is right.
Yeah. How do you see the Spanish mindset towards collaborative consumption versus other countries?
The solar market, you mean?
No, the
Spanish market, is it more open to collaborative consumption or not? That was the question, right?
Yeah.
If the sharing economy is more open I mean, is the community more open to share more things? Well, I think that we made a study in other countries and trying to get, for instance, an overlap of user between BlaBlaCar and Airbnb. Which is like, I would say, the same kind of model than we have, but for houses. And the idea was, and the result of the survey was like only 10%. There is only an overlap of 10% between the 2 communities, which means that there's still a lot of things for us to grow up, and there's still a lot of things to grow up from the Airbnb's kind of size. So in terms of sharing economy, it doesn't mean because somebody shares a car, he's going to share a house, he's going to share a meal with somebody else. It looks like there are verticals and still not really always connected. But along the time, I do believe that people will have like, we will end up with something much more powerful than a sharing economy. And probably the next big thing will be into the reputation, the online reputation. So as an individual, as a consumer, you're going to have a profile that defines who you are, but not because you are Pedro or John or whoever, and because you have an ID, but only because about how you consume, how you behave. Are you clean? Are you on time? Are you a nice person? Do you drive safe? And those kind of online reputation is going to be defining the profile or next generation of application and services in the future. So I think this is where the sharing economy will be actually meeting all the verticals that we have today.
And so from a database perspective, do you see any kind of cannibalization between both models?
Products? No, the contrary. I find, for example, that we are completely complementary, because right now what I have a portfolio of single rooms, double rooms, suites, and apartments. Yeah. I think it's the normal direction that the hotel business and the tourist business should go. I mean, we are the ones who know how to give the service. We are the ones who are providing professional service to our clients. So we can do that fantastically well in the apartments, giving a value added, which is the extra services that they can choose. Because there's right now a 30, 35 up client who needs more service. They just don't want a key. They need other type of services. So I think there is a niche there for the hoteliers, and I think, on the contrary, I think it's completely complementary.
And I have a question. If one day Airbnb comes and says, hey, you're paying to me, I want to buy your business, Would you sell
Clink,
that
clink,
business?
clink, clink.
No, is it just one business for you, or it's two separate businesses?
No, my two hotels businesses are two different businesses, but of course we're all here to make money, and we're all here, I'm having fun at the same time, so which is fantastic, and I think I have a very good business, and for the moment, let's see, time will tell, but I mean, I'm open to anything, but yes, we're here to make money.
Okay, very good. So we have time for one last question over there.
Yes, my question is for Kike and Sarasola. First of all, I present myself. I'm Pablo Pastega from Rocket Internet. I would like to understand what is your value proposition from the end customer perspective compared to other existing players. Maria just named one, Airbnb. What is the value proposition that you have for these customers, for these individuals that want to rent a house through to you?
What they do, the difference is when you come and rent through me, I give you value added in services, no? You can choose your service. So for example, if you want to have if you rent an apartment in Paris for 1 week, with Airbnb, nobody cleans it, nobody does anything, and you need maybe a nanny, a cook, or something. With me, the value added is you have the same apartment, paying the same commission, and for the extra services that I give, that you demand, is what I find for you. We like to say in BMate, if you want a blue horse at the door, you pay for it, I get it. So the value added is the extra services we give you, in difference to the Airbnb that gives you no other services.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So we're sorry, we ran out of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To you both and to all of you. Thank you.